now INEC is looking to destroy over 6 million uncollected PVCs. Francis, I don't know if they should just be destroying these PVCs, or this is not an election period. Can they announce what? Do we give maybe a 2-month period and open it up for people to go and get their PVCs? Except saying that these 6 million PVCs are now outdated and cannot be used. Are PVCs renewable? If it's not a renewable ID, why destroy? Why don't we do fresh awareness for people to go and pick up their PVCs? Over 6 million. Remember that INEC gets budgetary allocation, so it's going to mean that whatever amount of money that the federal government had invested in these electioneering facilities, now we are looking to destroy it. 6 million is a lot. I think it would be better if INEC just did an awareness, opens up its offices and ask people who have done their PVCs, who had registered for their PVCs between certain number of years, to go and pick it up. I think that would be the wisest move to make.
Well, first off, when you talk about collection of PVCs, going back to the pre-election period, I know that we had the moment where we covered, INEC collection centers, where Nigerians are available to pick up their PVCs. The answer is yes. Did we have enough hands in INEC offices to ensure Nigerians get their PVCs, in record time? The answer is no. I remember interviewing different individuals, lecturers, lawyers, teachers, different professions who made it clear in front of INEC office with INEC officials. They have been there consistently for 3 days and still could not get their PVCs. Some had been there for consistently 5 days, still could not get their PVCs. And in a country like Nigeria, where you know that every other person has their own responsibility, they have their own duty post. For somebody to take 3 days, take 5 days to come to INEC office to pick up a PVC and still not be able to get that, because we do not have enough hands across the INEC offices in Nigeria to ensure that people walk in and just pick their PVCs, it becomes a problem. So you can't blame Nigerians for not picking up that huge number of PVCs. But rather, INEC, on the other hand, before thinking about destroying what cost us millions to produce in the first place, unless they're telling us, like you rightly pointed out, that these PVCs are outdated and will no longer be useful in 2027. Otherwise, the one thing that INEC needs to do now is go on massive awareness. That's one. The second thing would be, after the awareness creation has been done and Nigerians are aware, okay, if you had done your PVC, time for collection is now. Go to your ward, go to your center, go to all INEC offices. We have people on ground 24/7 every day of the week. Like you rightly stated as well, let's set a time frame. 3 months, 6 months into the year 2025, this is what we're going to be doing. We want to collect the backlog of uncollected PVCs. So awareness creation is done. You use all the media organizations, use all the channels that you can reach out to people. You go to churches, you use traditional institutions. Let Nigerians know that the first 6 months of 2025, we are talking collection of PVCs. And then go the extra mile of making sure that you have enough hands in your offices across the states of the Federation and the FCT. Now, when you put those things in place, Nigerians will be able to go collect their PVCs. In 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, we cannot look back and talk about 6 million plus PVCs that are still uncollected if we do the right thing. But you see the problem in Nigeria, you don't have awareness, Nigerians are not aware, and then you don't have enough hands, and because of those things, those limitations, those inadequacies and inconsistencies here and there within the offices of the Nigerian government, Nigerians cannot get access to this. So you're now telling us we're going to destroy this. When you destroy it, the question will now be, can those who register before now, whose PVC you destroy, come back and register and still get a PVC? And then who suffers and who pays for that amount of money that will be burnt away into flames?
Well, Now, part of the conversations that INEC is having here is that these are part of reviews that were collated after the 2023 election. Some of the reviews and suggestions that people did. We were asking for a review and a overhaul rather of INEC. So they're saying these are some of the issues that were raised for INEC to clear the backlog. Now, this backlog, we're looking at least a decade worth of backlog. So we're looking at as far back as 2015 for these backlogs. So, but the question is going to be, in clearing the backlog, is this the way forward? That's going to be one. And then number two, we're talking about technology now and hopping on to the Internet of Things to get things done. When you destroy this in the next circle of elections, you're still going to ask people to come out and register. Is there a way that we can move away from these cards, to something onto the internet entirely that doesn't need us printing, that doesn't need us, whatever, anything that, because now we're also looking at trying to clear the log because it is counting in the voters register, as it were. So when they wipe all of this, it now brings down the number of registered voters that we have in Nigeria. I guess that would be the numbers that they're trying to work with. But there's a lot more questions. You need to look at the fact that, okay, maybe since 2015 till now, that people have not collected the PVCs. So maybe we should think about the fact that, okay, maybe this system is no longer very durable. It's not working for people. Remember that some people registered for their PVCs in some places and have had to relocate to other parts of the country. I'm never saying those that have jackpot. So, yeah,
and the numbers that have also died.
Yeah, so there's a lot of factors. So I think we should find a way to authenticate our voters verification exercise. We should find other ways that people can be identified. But I would say, before destroying the over 6 million, open up a window of collections again, especially because we are not pursuing an election deadline, so there will be no
we have like 2 years.
Yes, there will be no excess
election
pressure on the system. So do we know that we can just walk into any INEC office? I don't know if the INEC office that is opposite my house opens up every day for work. I don't know. They only come to work when it's quite close. Yeah, election season. What happens if we put a few people there, even if they don't work in this local government post every day, maybe 2 or 3 times in a week? Put it out there, get a town crier to call out the people in the locality. If you haven't gotten yours, hey, it's time to come get it. I think it will be first approach before destruction, because the way we destroy things in the country too, we allow me. Remember, that's the same approach that the Joint Task Force on eradicating oil theft in the country also does. You see it, you destroy it, but then again, we take these same proposals back to the presidency, back to the National Assembly, asking for allocations to put together facilities. I think this should be thought through properly.
Well, the best thing is usually not to jump into destroying government properties. Those properties belong to not just the Nigerian people, but also the government of Nigeria. And don't forget, we're also talking about the possibility of INEC having getting to that point where Nigeria generally getting to a point where we have one unified card that Nigerians can use to do things anywhere and everything that has to do with the Nigerian, and that includes voting. If we are saying, if INEC is saying, okay, going forward in 2027, we've already made plans, we've already agreed, we've put modalities in place and are trying to fine-tune, dot the I's and cross the T's as far as 2027 election is concerned, and we're going to have a new means of voting for both existing voters and new voters who will get to register. That will be a different ballgame and will be understood by Nigerians. But as long as we're still going to go to card, it means that these 6 million plus cards here can also be the difference between who wins election and who loses election. Because if for any reason these cards are destroyed, INEC is talking about destruction, burning them, but will you burn them and erase them from the voter register? And if
that should be the expectation, because they're talking about the fact that it's taking up space in the register.
Now, when it takes up space in the voter register and you burn the cards, and then let's assume INEC burns the cards and whips the numbers, the names out of the voter register. Well, those cards numbers, identification numbers, can you guarantee that it would not read past when somebody gets hold of them, or somebody had gotten hold of them and uses it in the next round of elections?
Well, there are multiple questions, multiple concerns around this. That's the public notice made available. All permanent voters cards, PVCs issued by the Independent Electoral Commission, INEC, do not expire. Get that? These were the questions I was asking. They do not expire. To be sure, the PVCs have no expiry date written on them. So this 6 million that you're trying to destroy, you know that it never expires. So somebody, can feel like, oh, the nation has been failing me. But 1 year they said, okay, I'm going to vote. And I remember that in 2015, 2020, I had registered. Let me go, maybe we'll find it. You now get there, oh, it was destroyed. We'll start the process afresh. I really think that this has not been thought through. Therefore, all registered voters with PVCs issued by INEC can vote in all elections organized by the commission, including this. Of course, this came from 2023. So no matter what year you've had this, it can't be destroyed. So we are going to use these same cards that we have come 2040, however the years are that we are, whether it's 2040, 2045 that we are, voting, the cards will still be relevant, except we upgrade to another system of voting. But they're saying these things do not expire. If they do not expire, what then is the problem? Let's just know that, find a system around it. These are the numbers of uncollected ones, and therefore it cannot be counted as part of XYZ, whatever the terms are in INEC. But destruction, no. Destruction is just not. It's just not the answer at this point. But let's see, what Professor Mahmoud Yakubu would do with this. Are there CSOs that would advise against? Because now a lot of this, like I said earlier, is stemmed on feedbacks that they got. But when you get the feedback, you have to also sit down and analyze what works best for the organization. And this approach, I don't think, is one of the best approaches that the government should be going by. Definitely
not the best, not the best, not the right approach at this point in time. As far as Nigeria is concerned, it would be like we've established that parameters. If it was an expired card, I mean, something that had an expiry date, and you say, okay, as we go into 2025, these cards will all expire because they were registered between this time frame and this time frame. But INEC hasn't said that to Nigerians. So destroying this would mean we are still going to spend money to print the same thing. It possibly can also mean that somebody can lay hold of those numbers and still use it in the elections in 2027 and going forward. So this is one thing that INEC has to put it down for now, and then find a way to get Nigerians to get their PVCs. Those things don't pay rent. They don't pay rent. They don't occupy. Okay, they occupy space, but those spaces are for things to be occupied. So we're not losing as a government. We're not losing as a people because the PVCs are there uncollected. You can talk from the standpoint of the fact that because they are uncollected, then we don't have enough people actually coming out to vote. But what is 6 million plus compared to 200 and about approximately 15 million Nigerians as we speak? And then in the next round of elections, new voters are going to register. So rather, what INEC should do is to ensure that modalities are put in place for Nigerians to, when you register for your PVC, you get it instantly. I oftentimes would wonder and ask, how is it that you're able to register for an ATM card and you just get it? Can the Nigerian government or the INEC get to a point where at the registration point in 2026, 2025, 2026, as we begin the next round of voter registration, can we think around a situation where you have printers, you have the INEC card, like the voter's card we had, just like you have ATM machines across banks, right? You have the cards, and all that needs to be done is once the person registers and the name is captured, it's just for the person handling the machine, just put the card in and print for that person, and the person leaves with the card. Now that way, you would make sure that everybody who comes to register does not have to come back a second time or a second day, or does not have to spend days coming back without being able to receive the voters card. Now, if we're able to do that, we will significantly ensure that going forward we just have the 6 million plus uncollected PVCs for starters, but going forward we do not have any backlog of cards waiting to be collected, because at the registration point, you register, you get your card. You register, you get your card. That's just the simplest way to go. But let's move away from the INEC conversation and the BVN cards, and hope that they pay attention to the advice coming from the media, and of course also take the liberty to think deeper into the possible solutions to these challenges of uncollected PVCs. But yeah, something troubles me. Reading about the fact that the federal government, I mean, you're looking at ministries, departments, and agencies of government, plans to spend 40.81 billion naira on purchase of petrol and diesel in 2025.
Of course.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. And then I'm looking at the fact that in Nigeria, the federal government and the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has spoken about the need to shore up investment in the electricity sector. I mean, Adams Oshomole was on the floor of the House the other day advocating for the deprivatization of the electricity sector, overhauling the entire plan, and then making sure to set up new parameters and new criteria and new policies to ensure the right things are being done. Imagine what 40.18 billion could do if the federal government were to be serious enough to invest that rightly into the electricity sector.